Okay, we'll see if anyone pops in. Hi, if you were just here, I am so sorry. My computer went completely frozen. Everything just froze. So I'll see if anyone else hops back in. The first live stream completely froze. Hello, Dolores. How are you? Hi. I'm just gonna wait a second. I was on earlier. Okay, we got a few people. So sorry if anyone was here a second ago. Everything just completely froze. I had to do a whole new live stream. Hi, George. Hello. How are you all? Is Jason here? Jason had a super chat and asked me a question. Jason, are you here? Uh, see you three dots. What? Okay, Jason, you asked if I got an email. I didn't. It might have gone to my junk, but as soon as I get off here, I'll check it. And if I have an email from you, I'll get right back to you. But I saw you right before I froze. Yes, I just completely froze and I was really frustrated. Good evening. Hey, guys. Okay, so did you guys okay, perfect. I'll look at that as soon as I get off of here. I'll go check that and see if it's in there. I'm sure it is. I've been really bad about my email recently, so I'm sure it's in there. Okay, so this whole Texas Democrat thing, have you guys been paying attention to this? So you've heard basically everyone talking about these voter bills. Uh, you add mods. What does that mean? I don't know what that means, Dolores. Okay, so the whole voter thing, I'm actually going to go through point for point with you if you guys want to do that about this Texas voter bill. So if you heard, all of the Democrats fled Texas on private jets, basically, well, not on the dime of taxpayers, but taxpayers are paying their salary. They fled Texas because they didn't want to participate in this voting bill. That's basically, it's HB3, I believe. And this is what everyone keeps hearing about. You had Jen Psaki. What did she say about it? So she said that this bill was basically stripping the rights of voters and it was authoritarian and this is the worst attack on democracy since the Civil War. Chuck Schumer also said the same thing. He said Republicans are conducting a sweeping attack on voting rights and it's the worst attack in centuries. And hello, plant. And he said this is a complete attack on democracy. Mods are the moderator and your stream, so you don't have to take the time to do it. I have one. I don't know if he's here right now. Would you like to do it, Dolores? I can add you. I'm always open to new people doing that because it's hard to see all of the comments all the time. So if anyone wants to do that, let me know and I'll add you, and you can be a moderator. I would love to have that help. So that's basically what they're saying. And we've heard Kamala Harris talk about how voter ID is racist. And that's basically the biggest thing in the voter bills are the voter IDs. Hi, beautiful. Did you see what Biden and the UN did? No, Lewis, can you let me know what he did? I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to. Give me a break. Kamala is a joke. So I don't know if you remember, but Kamala is referring to this bill and referring to a lot of the election integrity bills. And I would do that for you. Okay, Chris. Okay, I gotcha. Hold on, let me write your name down. All right, Chris. I got you. I'll add you. I can't do it right now, but I'll add you for the next one. The UN will be investigating the systemic racism in the USA. Oh my gosh. Hello from Virginia Beach. Hello, I'm very close to Virginia Beach. Okay, so they're saying that these bills are attacks on democracy. Kamala Harris is saying that, people in rural areas, they don't have access to Kinkos, so they can't get a voter ID. And they're basically trying to frame this like this is an attack. This is Republicans attacking just the whole democracy. And these are them that are they're trying to make it harder to vote, and they're trying to strip away voter rights. Well, I actually broke down for you what's exactly in this Texas bill. And if you saw this week, the Texas Democrats, about 15 of them, so they were supposed to be voting in Texas to pass this HB3. It's a voter integrity bill. And the Democrats said, no, we're protesting. This is evil. How can you do this? And they flew out of Texas, and they're in DC right now trying to protest passing this bill. Well, I'm going to read you what is exactly in this bill, what is so bad, what is the worst thing since Civil War. And this is what exactly is in the bill. And then we'll get to the fun stuff. Okay, so the first point in the bill is basically there are temporary things put in place because of the pandemic. So it says temporary expediency due to the pandemic, drive-through voting and 24-hour early voting would stop. And then it forbids election officials from implementing practices contemplated under the state's election statutes, as sometimes happened during the pandemic. So it's basically saying, okay, you can't do what you're not supposed to do. Holy cow, what an attack on democracy. The next point, in many counties, it will extend early voting hours by 1 hour. So, holy cow, attack on democracy. It's going to extend early voting hours by an hour a day. So, and remember, this is what they're so upset about. This is what they're protesting. This is the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. I guess they forgot about January 7th. And then it says, in certain circumstances, employers are required to give employees time off to vote. Require voters to write a driver's license number or other identifier on absentee ballots, matching the existing requirement for registering to vote or voting in person. So you have to have a driver's license number or some other voter ID. Holy cow, again, what an attack on democracy. And then it said it would ban public offices from sending out unsolicited mail-in ballots. So that's what was happening. I don't know about you, but I got 2 ballots that were sent to my house during the 2020 election that were for people that I had never even heard of. So they're basically saying you can't send out unsolicited mail-in ballots because we don't want a slew of ballots like hanging out in the ethers. So bad, right? What an attack on democracy. And then it said it would mandate that all voting systems have paper trail on or before 2026 with funding incentives for counties that do this early. So they want a paper trail, things that you print out to have a paper trail of voting, not just electronically. And then the last thing, for sizable jurisdictions that can easily pull it off, it would require live streaming of vote counting proceedings. So that basically means that they want maybe a camera up there in the corner watching people while they're counting, making sure that they're not doing any funny business. That doesn't seem so bad to me, does it? Hey, Special K, what's up? Doesn't seem so bad at all. And this is what they are all freaking out about. This is the worst attack since the Civil War. They are absolutely insane, and they're lying, because that's basically everything that's in this voter bill. None of it is bad. All of it is just making it a little more secure. It's not making it difficult for anyone to vote, and you just need some kind of ID so they can make sure you are who you say you are. Whoa, big deal. Hey, Special K. And I don't know if you remember, but actually Project Veritas, there was a woman in Texas who was arrested for voter fraud. She was going around ballot harvesting, getting people, like convincing people and bribing them to vote a certain way and then collecting their ballots and taking them. So these were people that maybe wanted to vote this way, and then she would bribe them and convince them to vote another way. And that's what a lot of people do with like nursing homes and things like that. They'll convince them to vote a certain way and sort of take advantage of the vulnerable. Yes, I love Project Veritas. Hey, Sarah, I'm from Texas, by the way. Oh, very cool. So, what do you think of all of the Democrats that fled Texas? Just curious, since you actually live there. I would love to know what you think about that. That's what we were just talking about, and how this voting bill, there's nothing really crazy in it. It's just making it more secure. Anyway, I don't know if you also heard, this is just a really quick thing, but Los Angeles County is reinstating their indoor mask mandate. So whether you are vaccinated, they should all be replaced. I agree. You know, there are the pictures of the Democrats on the private jets, and by the way, one picture you can see a case of Miller Lite, and they're all proud. Oh, and just so you know, my new favorite sci-fi movie is Star Raiders. Oh, Star Raiders. So what Jason is talking about, Star Raiders was a movie that I was in, and it's a really, we all knew it was cheesy, but it's a really cheesy sci-fi film. They should all lose their jobs. Yes. So Star Raiders was a movie that I was in. It's a very cheesy sci-fi film, but it was really fun because I got to do my first and only stunt. I got to get blown up. I was in a space, what do you call it? I was going to say space machine. You know what I'm talking about. I was up in outer space, and I was in a war, blown up. Yes, I got blown up in Star Raiders, and I got to do my own stunt. So that was pretty fun. So I basically jumped backwards onto a mat. It was very cool. But that's one of my little films that I did. You were the weapons specialist. Spaceship, that's what I meant. I was on a spaceship and I got blown up. Yes, the Democrats are drama queens. So all these Democrat drama queen, I would say narcissistic drama queens, because they think what they're doing is so brave, but really they're just not doing their jobs while taxpayers are still paying their salary. And they took pictures on this plane like, look at us, we're so brave, we're saving democracy. It was just really embarrassing. Sarah, do you see three dots? If so, click it. No. Are there three dots somewhere? Is someone messing with me? Yeah, I think they should all be fired. If you leave your job like that, you should be fired. By the way, the bill passed. So the bill did pass, but they have to be there in order for it to go through or be finalized or something like that. If you know better, let me know. Yeah, so in making laws that stop voter fraud is racist. Yeah, apparently. And there's really nothing crazy. And actually, what I learned even more was that a lot of things were pulled back because of the pandemic. So a lot of things were a lot more lax because they didn't want people waiting in line together and crowding these voting places and possibly getting infected or spreading things. So they laxed a lot of the rules, and really what this bill is doing is just putting things back in place. So it's really putting things back to where it was before, and I even think they like gave a little leeway to some of the Democrats. Hi there. The Texas Demorats had a joyride. Yeah, and they flew, of course, on their private jets. They're all in DC. I'll have to look into it a little bit farther, but right before I got on here, I did see that I think one of them got arrested. I'm not sure what exactly for, but apparently Governor Abbott said that when they return, they will be being arrested. Any Hog fam? Oh, hello. I'm glad you're here. All with taxpayers' money. Yeah, totally. Coors beer. No, they had Miller Lite. That's water. All of it. So is Coors. Sorry, but it is. Um so Los Angeles County, whether you're vaccinated or not, they are re-implementing their indoor mask mandate, which is pretty crazy. And it's starting, I think, at midnight tonight and going forward. And the odd thing about this mask mandate being reinstated is that they're saying that they're afraid of, and they're getting more people in the hospitals and they're afraid of infections going up. Well, back in January, you had, I think it was like a few thousand people that were hospitalized. And today there's only 400 people that are hospitalized. Hey, Sarah, glad to have you in the Hog family. That's a Tom McDonald fan. Yeah, I love Tom McDonald. He's one of my favorites. Absolutely. I love all of his music. I think he's creative. I think he's different. It's funny. Watching something from, shoot, I can't remember what YouTube channel it was, but it was talking about film, and I know Coors Banquet is really good people. I used to live in Colorado right next to the Coors Brewery. I actually never went because it was always so crowded. A lot of tourists would go there. Yes, what is it? Coors Banquet is the that's what it is. Coors Banquet is the champagne of beer. CNN News is scaring so many people about COVID. Yeah, so they have that going on again, and the interesting thing is that hospitalizations were actually up more a few months ago when we were sort of relaxing a lot of things. So it'll be interesting to see if people actually comply with that. I don't really know if they will. Oh, Film Courage. So I was watching Film Courage today. This reminds me of Tom McDonald. And Film Courage, they just kind of talk about film and stuff like that. And this guy was on, and he was saying that 99.9% of films that are made right now are all completely boring and it's all a bunch of crap. And he was talking about how now to make a film, first of all, you have to appeal to an international audience, China. So all these people that are making film, the art isn't in front of the film. It's like we have to check all of these boxes off. We have to check the diversity box. We have to check, are we going to appeal to an international audience? Check. Now we have to lecture people and talk about social justice instead of just making entertaining stuff. Check. So that's why a lot of our films and stuff sucks, and it's so corporate now. Okay, now I have kind of a funny story for you. And this is how sort of the left, hi Kelly, this is how the left is eating itself, okay? So in Boston, the Boston Pride group decided to dissolve itself amid diversity complaints. So there's this Pride organization in Boston, and they have decided, hey Kelly, they have decided to completely disband because they're getting complaints that the board of this group in Boston is too white. They are not diverse enough. So they have decided to completely disband. And of course, the people that were complaining about them were BLM. So they were told that they don't have enough black and brown. I think, what do I have right here? It says Boston Pride, the organization that has organized the city's Pride celebration for 15 years, has announced it's shutting down. The dissolution announced Friday afternoon in a statement that on the group's website comes after reportedly an all-white board of directors has faced ongoing accusations ignoring racial minorities of transgender people. It's clear to us that our community needs and wants change without the involvement of Boston Pride. So, and it says, in 2020, Boston Pride statement addressing police brutality after the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor reportedly removed any reference to Black Lives Matter, according to New England LGBTQ outlet, the Rainbow Times, resulting in 80% of the group's volunteers to quit and protest. So because they didn't mention Black Lives Matter, 80 people quit and protested. And they've gotten so much crap since then that the Boston Pride has decided to disband itself. Hey, from Magic Mountain area, it's been a while. Good to see you. Hi. Okay, did you hear about Magic Mountain isn't LA County, is it? But I'm wondering if you heard about the mask mandate. Have you ever heard of Toby Mac? That sounds really familiar. If not, try him out. He does Christian music. Toby Mac, that sounds familiar. I don't know why. Toby Mac. I think I'm thinking of something else. Oh, also, I had not. Oh, okay. Yes, they are. I think it's going into effect tonight at midnight, but apparently they are reinstating their indoor mask mandate. So that'll be interesting. And then we were talking about Cuba and Black Lives Matter earlier today, and the Black Lives Matter organization had a big statement about Cuba, basically standing with the government and blaming the United States for the protests that are going on in Cuba. So if you didn't see that video, I'll update you on what happened. So Black Lives Matter, they put out this huge statement about about what is going on in Cuba. As you know, there are a lot of protests going on in Cuba, and they were saying that this is because of America. It's because of our tax embargo or our trade embargoes, and that is what is oppressing the country of Cuba. When in actuality, if you look at the numbers, and I put up a chart in my video, you can see that the Cuban government, they do have money, but they're not allocating it to the people. They're putting it in foreign investments. So they're not putting it towards medicine and things like that for their people. It's going into foreign investments and other things. So it's not the trade embargo. It is, in fact, the communist regime that is in. Yes, Resurrection Prophet DC. Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you very much, Kelly. BLM supports communism. Yeah, that's basically what they did. They supported the government, and of course they blamed everything on the US. But again, if you actually look at the numbers, it has nothing to do with the fact that their government does not have money. It has everything to do with how they're allocating their money, and they're not giving it to their people. And that is why the people are angry and protesting. So it's not because America is the evil, terrible, awful country. It has nothing to do with that. And this is, look it up yourself, but somebody pulled up a tweet from Black Lives Matter back in, it was November 26th. BLM is not diverse enough. That'll be next. No, BLM will never disband itself because they are the bullies to everyone else, and that's exactly what they are. They bully everyone else. They will never disband themselves. They will just lose support, and then I don't know what'll happen after that. So there was a tweet pulled up by Black Lives Matter, the official Black Lives Matter Twitter, from 2016, and it said R.I.P. Fidel Castro. I'm not even joking. You can pull it up. But after all of this happened, somebody pulled that up and retweeted it out. So go ahead, if you want to laugh, go look at that. If you know, we always joke about how they support communism. It was interesting. I just saw a video from a school board meeting, and it was a father and his wife, and it happened to be a black father and his wife, and they were talking to the school board, and they were talking about the organization of Black Lives Matter, how they want to disrupt the family unit, and how they have communist ideas, and how they support Marxism, and how they are trained Marxist. And they were basically educating the school board on this, because a lot of the people that support Black Lives Matter, they do it for a good reason, and you can completely understand why someone that might not completely understand what the organization is about, you can totally understand why someone would support them. If you're a good person, you know, you want to support a good cause. But most people, I would guarantee you that 99% of people have never been on the website, have never read their mission statement, have never heard, they probably don't even know who the co-founders are, much less what they're all about. And when you think about what they're all about, it actually makes sense. When you think about all the money, BLM is not a good cause. I know, Kelly, but a lot of people think that they are. And you could kind of see, if you're sort of a low information person, why you would think that maybe they're a good cause. Sarah, we allocate a lot of money to other countries and doesn't go to the people, right? Yeah, we do that too. You're right. But we're not starving, I would say. Look at what Obama and Biden did during the administration towards Cuba. Yeah, and that's the thing. They want to blame, you know, the same people that they want into office are the same people that they're blaming. Just came back from my local market, 0 masks. Yeah, around here we don't have any masks on right now. I might be in LA in a few weeks, so we'll see how it is there. So true. Peeps only hear media without journalism. Yeah, and Hammerstein, I actually talked to someone recently too, and this is how powerful the media is, even to people that are pretty smart. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and he goes, you know, I have a friend that is very much on the left, but a very smart person, and someone that you can have a conversation with. And sorry, I'm just getting a sip of water. And he said, even this person honestly thought that minority communities couldn't go and get an ID. He honestly thought that. And this is a very intelligent person, but the media has brainwashed him to that point. And this is true if you ever study like how the mind works. When things are repeated over and over and over and over and over again, you start to hear them as truth. Even absurd things, they just start to be true to you. And I think that's what the media does. It just says it so many times that people are like, okay, this is true. This just is, it is what it is. And it's a shame. I always talk too much. But I just thought that was surprising. I know people like that too. I remember I accidentally caught, I'm in BC, mask mandate was lifted a couple weeks ago. Most people still wear them. It's the same here. I wonder the psychology behind that. Because we've had it lifted for a while, but there's still a decent number of people that wear masks out. And I just want to know what that's all about. Because they're probably vaccinated and they're still wearing a mask out everywhere. I remember I was sitting next to someone at Starbucks recently and I heard her talking about her son and fear. Yeah, I think it's fear and comfort, but she was talking about her son. Sarah, are you still in VA? Yes, I'm still in VA. I'll probably be here for a little while longer, although I'm going to be visiting California, I think, in the next few weeks. And what I really want to do is I want to go, trying to avoid Karen conflicts. I want to go to Venice Beach. I don't know if you know this, but I was living at the very start of the pandemic. I was living in Venice Beach. And then I moved to West Hollywood and came here after my lease ran up because I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay there. But I'm curious to venture in Venice Beach because I know they've been doing a cleanup. It's obviously not all cleaned up, not even close, but I'm just curious to see what it is like there. I know they cleaned up some of it. High Desert Cali, masks everywhere still. Interesting. Have you listened to ABL, originally hails from Virginia? I do like ABL. If you guys don't know ABL, he has a really good YouTube channel. I did not know that he was from Virginia. Where does he live now? I had no idea he was from Virginia. I'm just looking at my notes. Oh, this is interesting too. So this kind of goes back into the voter thing. So we just had the MLB All-Star game. So the MLB All-Star game, did anyone watch it, by the way? It was in Denver. I used to work at Coors Field in Denver where it was. I used to work in Coors Field and then I worked around Coors Field. I lived in Denver for a while. It's actually a really cool baseball field. I don't know if you guys have ever been there. But this is what's so ironic and hypocritical about MLB pulling out of Atlanta. It should have stayed in Atlanta. I totally agree with you, Benjamin. It should have stayed in Atlanta. And they pulled it out because they were protesting the same thing. They were protesting these voter integrity bills. And the worst thing about it was the voter ID. And Kelly says, I don't support any sports anymore. I don't think many people do. But here's the irony of the MLB pulling out of Starbucks for someone. What's the story? Oh, sorry. I always get distracted because I start talking to people. So I'm sitting next to this woman in Starbucks, and then I'll talk about the MLB. I'm sitting next to this woman in Starbucks, and she's talking about her teenage son. And she said, he knows that you don't have to wear a mask anywhere, but he told me he's still going to wear it because he's just comfortable wearing it. And, that just is how it is. So I think a lot of people are like that. I think a lot of people are, okay, I don't have to wear it anymore, but it just keeps me comfortable. There was this really interesting, if you follow Ami Horowitz, he makes a lot of shorts. He's on YouTube, Ami Horowitz. He's a really good journalist. But he went out in New York City one day and asked people that were wearing masks. He would go up to them and he would say, are you vaccinated? And they would say yes. And then he said, so why are you still wearing a mask? And no one could answer him. Not one person could really answer why they still had a mask on. And I think it's like comfort. I think it's fear. I don't know what it is. Masks fog up my glasses. I walked into a parking meter because I am smooth. They do fog up the glasses. It's really embarrassing. That has happened to me in my sunglasses quite a few times. Oh, but the MLB. So the MLB pulled out of Atlanta in protest over their voter integrity bill, which the worst thing in it is voter ID. Who doesn't have an ID? Everyone has an ID. You need one to do everything. And so the MLB pulled out of Atlanta because they said voter ID was racist, right? So they went to Colorado. They pulled out. Atlanta So when the MLB comes to town, that brings millions of dollars to that town, to that city. And keep in mind, we just got out of a pandemic where a lot of businesses were suffering big time. So this would have brought a lot of revenue and a lot of business to Atlanta. Atlanta is 51% black. 30% of businesses in Atlanta are owned by black families. Okay. So they said these voter IDs were racist. So they pulled out of this black community, they pulled all of those millions of dollars out of this black community, put it in Denver, Colorado. Denver, Colorado is 75% white. And I know this because I used to live there, and it is all Atlanta literally has a majority black population. Denver is like 10% black. Yeah. Yeah. Denver, they say, is 70%, 75% white. So you're probably right. It's probably about 10%. And I used to live there, so I can attest for that too. I don't have to just look at numbers. But yeah, 30% of those businesses are black owned in Atlanta, 51% of the population. So they didn't get any of that business, any of those millions of dollars of revenue, and it went to Colorado, which is mostly white. So that's again how this logic doesn't make any sense. It is all self-serving. And that goes right back into this like Boston pride completely disbanding itself. And it does that because identity politics at the end of the day are self-serving. Like all the teachers teaching critical race theory, it's all self-serving. If they really cared about children, they wouldn't be teaching that stuff. It's completely self-serving, and it has these teachers, they don't care about the kids. They don't care about what's best for the kids. They don't care about educating the kids. Totally self-serving. I saw this crazy number today. I can't remember what city, but it's like less than 50% of kids, and I think this is true in a lot of school districts, it's like less than 50% of kids are actually proficient in where they're supposed to be proficient. So instead of actually figuring out why and doing a better job of teaching kids reading, writing, arithmetic, they call it racism. Oh, it was Baltimore. Man, you're smart. You're right, it was Baltimore. Do you remember the exact number? It's, let me see if I can pull it up. How many kids... Any kids? Was it proficient in reading? Proficient reading, Baltimore. Let's see if it pulls it up. But it's an embarrassingly low number. Maryland scored, let's see. Wow. Okay, this is what it is. Well, that's 2017. Well, it's probably not that much different. It's even worse. Several Baltimore schools report 0 students proficient in math. So you have kids that are very, very, very under what they should be. 0 students proficient in math in some schools. And instead of teaching them math, they're teaching them systemic racism. Yeah, I've seen that. It was GPA of less than 1.0. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah. So it was something like 50% of kids, or I think it was even more than that, have a GPA that's around 1.0, and that's a terrible GPA. Here, hold on, let me see if I can find that exact number. 1.0 GPA. Baltimore. Let's see what pulls up. Your video about the George Floyd mural being struck by lightning popped up when I watched ABL's. Oh, is that how you're here? Well, it's good to know I'm not totally shadow banned. Okay, here's what it is. The CEO of the Baltimore school district. Okay, so someone said the CEO of the school district makes $300,000 a year. Here's the story. Baltimore City schools, 41% of high school students earn below a 1.0 GPA. Wow. Here, let me read more of it. It is embarrassing. You would be surprised, though, how many school districts, crazy stats. When I went to school, my teacher said math would be the most important thing I learn in life. I never did well in math, but I didn't have a GPA that low. I grew up in American Battlefield, a black people town, I didn't get to read the rest of that. Okay, so it says, a stunning Project Baltimore report about how poorly city students performed this year has one state lawmaker calling for school administrators to be fired. But some city leaders have a different response. Had to choose to watch you over Tucker. You can watch Tucker later. Thank you. Did anyone see Tucker last night? I don't think I can talk about it on this channel. I don't want to get banned. In math, I was a math person. I would fight it. Sorry, too long. This is a real crisis, a crisis that needs outside of the box thinking. This is horrible. That is terrible. Wow. Someone said we have an obligation to prepare and protect these students and give them the best chance of the future. In the second quarter, yeah, so it's just bad. Wow. And that's what a lot of these school districts that I was on the principal list. I never did good in school. I always needed tutors. Math was not my thing. I loved social studies. I was okay in history. I don't watch Tucker after what he did, the lawyer, Miss Powell. Jason, I would recommend, I heard what you just said, Jason. I would recommend watching Tucker's episode from last night. I don't want to talk about it on here because I don't want to get banned or anything. Watch Tucker's episode last night. There was a segment in there about Georgia, Fulton County. You know what I'm talking about. And it was pretty crazy. I would watch that. Even if you don't like Tucker, just watch that one. You won't be sorry. So a lot of these school districts, what I found is that a lot of the ones that are teaching like CRT, critical race theory, and all of these social justice-y things, a lot of these schools have really bad numbers. Their students are underperforming. And instead of admitting that they're underperforming, they're saying that the problems are systemic racism and all of that stuff going on in the school. And then they're using it to justify teaching this crap. And it's really sad. I don't know if they're teaching that in Baltimore schools. That's wild. That's how it is. And the sad thing is, I don't think is voting in Georgia is getting unearthed. Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you what, I want to say it without saying it, so let's be secretive and careful, you guys. But I watched, because we were in the middle of the lockdown, so I had a lot of time on my hands. I watched a lot of election hearings, and a lot of people don't even know that those happened because the media didn't want you to know that they happened. But I watched a lot of them, and I specifically watched the ones in Georgia, and it was pretty crazy. But again, they don't want you to know that happened, but just watch Tucker from last night. Just watch him. Oh, well, this is interesting. I forgot about this. So, let me know what you guys think about this. So, Biden made a statement today. I think he kind of got pushed in a corner because the weird thing was, so what was happening in Cuba? A lot of people, like in the press room, were asking Jen Psaki about it, about communism and all of those things, and she would not say the C word. She would say it's an impressive government, but she would not say the communist word. So finally, Biden came out. And if you also notice, AOC has been really silent about it. Ilhan Omar has been really silent about it. But Biden said, this is his exact quote, communism is a failed system, universally failed system, and I don't see socialism as a failed substitute. So I'll be circle back Psaki. Yeah, circle back Psaki. Yeah, so she would not say the C word, but Biden has finally come out and said that communism is a failed system and has failed everywhere, and socialism is not a good substitute for communism. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone else says anything. Students proficient in critical thinking would see through the propaganda. That would be a major problem. There was actually a student recently, it was an 8th grader, that recorded his teacher basically teaching a lot of the CRTs type stuff in school, and that went viral a little while ago. So some kids are seeing through it. But what's really sad is how insidious this is. I think that now is a great time to move in on Cuba. Yeah, I'm never for us intervening anywhere, in foreign affairs. But I would say if there's any time, a place that's as close as Cuba, they're so close to us, this would be it. And how hypocritical was it of, I can't ever say his name, Marioka, Marocus, Mayorkas, our DHS secretary. So he was the one that got on TV. He was in one of my videos the other day. He he was the one that got on TV and was basically like, if you show Cuba how great they can be. Cuba can be great. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, and I've actually, they opened it up for tourism just a few years ago, and that's one of the places I've really wanted to go. It's such a beautiful place, and it has such a cool, not the communist regime, but it has such a cool culture. And it could be a wonderful place, and it's unfortunate that they have the government that they have right now, and it's scary what's going on. There was a YouTuber that was live streaming and got arrested while she was live streaming. There was a news anchor from Spain that got arrested just for reporting on what was happening. It's so sad that they can't even, and they don't have, they can peacefully assemble, but they're not allowed to protest or speak out against their government, which is really sad. And they shut down their communication. Really, really sad. What was I saying? Oh, so is Mayorkas? Yes, I said it right. I can never say his name. Mayorkas. Anyway, so he was the one that got on TV and basically said, we are not going to be accepting Cuban refugees. So if you're going to make that trek, don't even think about making that trek because you're not going to be coming here. Well, I didn't know this, but did you know that Mayorkas is Cuban? Like, he came here from Cuba when he was just a little tiny baby thing. So how hypocritical is that? And our southern border is wide open. You can just walk across the border if you're coming through the southern border. He told them not to come to America, but Cuba shut down the internet, so how would they know? Yeah, that's true. They're not on the internet. Been there, and it's sad seeing what it has happened. I did not know that. Yeah, look it up. He is Cuban. And he said that about, it's just, ugh. Thomas Anderson, Sarah has a video on Red Pill Mama. Yeah, it's my video. It should be at the top. But basically in 2016, the reason I changed my mind on everything was because, I wasn't really paying attention to I voted for Obama on both terms. And his second term, because what was his slogan? It was like, we're going to be the change. It's all about change. All the change is going to happen. I know, right? I know. Now I know a lot more about Obama, but I voted for Obama both terms, and around his second term, it just didn't feel right. Like, something felt really off. Change we can believe in. Yeah. Something just felt really off on his second term, and I was like, I just don't believe anything he says. And I just thought to myself, I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter who you vote for. It's all the same. They're all corrupt. Like, I'm done with politics. I'm just not interested anymore. And I did, but that's what changed me. So in 2016, when Trump was elected, I saw all of these people have all of these like emotional reactions to him and calling him a Nazi and all of that, and I was like, well, I mean, and by the way, I didn't vote in 2016, but if I would have voted, I would have voted for Hillary because I didn't know any better at the time. So I saw all of these people have these emotional reactions to Trump, and they all, like, I felt like just went insane. And I was like, what in the world is going on? Why are these people so crazy? So I started doing my own research, and I would look at his whole speech instead of the out of context part of the speech that they would talk about, or I would watch C-SPAN, or I would go to the source instead of listening to the news and their take on it. And I was just shocked at what I found. I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're lying. Like, how are they doing this? How are they getting away with all of these lies? They're totally mixing up what he said. Like, they're not being honest. What is going on?" And that's how I started like researching and going down this rabbit hole of information, because I just couldn't believe how much the media lied. And then I learned a lot about the Obama administration, how he was just funding terrorists and making all of these deals under the table, and I couldn't believe it. So that's kind of how I changed. It goes into more than that, but that was basically what it is. I was like, why are all my friends crazy all of this? Oh, thank you, Kelly. Kelly, you are so sweet. Thank you. She forgives me. It was also the first around the Ferguson thing. That was really odd to me too. Michael Brown and Ferguson. Because I was actually working at a basically like a shelter for kids that were abused and neglected. And we worked in tandem with police officers a lot. So I really understood what police officers did. And when that story came out about Ferguson, my first thought was, okay, well, what's going on here? Maybe there's more going on here than meets the eye. And then again, I saw the emotional reaction to everyone just out protesting in the streets, rioting. They were like chanting like all pigs die, stuff like that. And I was like, this just doesn't seem right. I feel like more is going on. And then we found out that that was a false narrative. Your walk away video is why I started following you. Oh, thank you, Jason. That's so sweet. I should make an updated one because I feel like that one is so old. I more has happened since then. I feel like, especially, do you think Ron DeSantis will run in 2024? I feel like he is polished version of Trump. That's a good way to put it. A polished version of Trump. Yeah, you're right. He's definitely a less rough around the edges than Trump is. I don't know. You know what? I honestly don't think he will. I think that Trump, thank you so much, Patrick. That's very sweet. I think that Trump is going to run in 2024. Did you guys see the UFC fight? He came out and people just went crazy. And I know like some people are against him running, some people are for. I'm not saying what I'm for. I'm just saying what I think. I think that Trump is going to be running in 2024. And I think that Ron, if he does run, will maybe be VP. I don't know, but I wouldn't want him to be VP. I would either want him to be president or I would want him to continue to be the governor of Florida. I think he would be way more effective being the governor of Florida or a president on the presidential ticket. I absolutely think he would kill it, but I think that Trump is intent on running, and I still think that Trump has such a powerful base. Um, what was I gonna say? Oh, so Trump was recently at the UFC game or the UFC game. What is wrong with me? I'm very sporty. Uh, the UFC fight, the UFC game. So Trump was recently at the UFC fight this past weekend, and when he came out, the crowd went crazy. Even, she's a celebrity, she's an actress, Fox. Megan Fox was recently on Jimmy Kimmel, I think either last night or the night before. She said, she was like, I couldn't believe it. It was like, I mean, everyone just went crazy when he came out. It was unbelievable. So he still has a really big base and he's still very much planning on running. But I would hate because I feel like a lot of times the VP, they don't get to do a whole lot or they're kind of in the background. You don't see them as much. So I would hate to see Ron like be in the shadow. Trump, Kristi Noem. Yeah, possibly. I really like Kristi Noem as well. She's another good one. Um, but I don't know. I think, okay, you guys, Trump was given the office. Trump is going on about the fake ID and the moment Obama. I didn't get to read the rest of that. I saw a picture of Mel Gibson saluting Trump at the UFC fight. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Richard. Yes, he did. So, and it was Sarah for 24. Oh, gosh. Yes, Mel Gibson. I saw it. I saw that little video, and then it was, if you look at what Mel Gibson was wearing, it was for sure Mel Gibson. So Mel Gibson at the UFC fight actually saluted Trump. And apparently, and I believe this wholeheartedly, Eva 2024, where is she? Hold on. Eva. I look at that big kitty. She's Eva, say hi. Say hi. This is your big moment. This is your big moment. Her eyes look creepy, huh? Eva, say hi. No. She's not into it. You can be It's a murder squirrel. She does look like a murder squirrel. Can I tell you something funny that she did the other day? I've never seen. She's a huge cat. 15 minutes of cat fame. Cat fame. She's a huge cat. So I'm basically living on a farm, and we have, when you walk outside, she looks just like my big male cat. Oh, they should be boyfriend, girlfriend. Furry kitty, wild and airport rides. Yes, she is wild and airport rides. So the other day, I'm living on a lot of land. It's a big farm. And we have, like, when you walk outside, there's bugs everywhere. There's dragonflies, there's squirrels, there's bunnies, there's horses, there's everything. And I'll let her outside a little bit during the day. She likes to just walk around and hang out. And she beelined a squirrel the other day. It was so funny. She didn't catch the squirrel. Butterflies. Oh, bunnies. I thought you said butter. Yes, we have two bunnies that hang out, and then there's deer. So if you're driving home after 7 p.m., last night I counted 10 deer. It's like living in Snow White. That's exactly what it feels like. It's living in Snow White. You open the door in the morning, and there's bunnies and squirrels and butterflies and dragonflies and regular flies, which aren't very fun. Even lizards. We have lizards. But so there was a squirrel running, and Eva comes and just beelines the squirrel like that and tackles it. And then the squirrel got away and ran up the tree. More like living in a grocery store, Lance. I love living in a rural area. It's really nice. And it's nice too, Kelly, because I'm sort of close to downtown Richmond. So I can get a little bit of that urban feel. I do. I like being in urban areas too. But it's nice because I can come here and Eva? Really? Stop it. She just scratches the walls for no reason. But it's cool because I can be in the country, and then I can still drive like 15, 20 minutes and be in downtown Richmond. So it's really nice. She scratches the wall for no reason all the time. She wants attention because she knows that I'm giving attention to you. Sorry about that. I'm paying attention to you and not her. She'll act bored when I hold her, but where is she? Can you see her? You disturbed her slumber. I know. Eva. Do you see? There she is. My cat would probably get its butt kicked by a squirrel. Yeah, that's the funny thing about Eva. She'll chase the animals. She'll chase the squirrels. She'll chase the butterflies. She'll chase the lizards and the dragonflies. But she never catches any of them. She's way too slow. She never catches a single one of them. She just chases them. I think she'll chase them a little bit, and then she's like, nah, I'm good. And then that's all there is. No, but it's really nice being here. But I wanted to update my walk away story because I think I will. I think I'll update it and just talk about, is there a squirrel joke I'm not getting? Maybe. I don't know. I don't think I get it either. Probably. They're so cute. I like chipmunks. I wanted to update my walk away story and sort of talk about what it's been like. You got a good balance of urban and rural. Absolutely. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. What am I? I wanted to update that walk away story and sort of talk about what it's been like kind of living in West Hollywood and being in the middle of the riots and the protests. I literally lived in the middle of Protest Central. We had weeks of protests. And where I lived, it's a quiet street, but it's still right in the middle of all of it. Peoria Heights, Illinois. Hi. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Did you think that Republicans are nicer, Sarah? Don't you think Republicans are nicer? Absolutely. And everybody says that. Republicans are so much nicer. And the cool thing about Republicans are, I think because we get so much crap in the media, and yes, Republicans are nicer. They're I think I've always been an inside Republican because I'm a really hard worker. I'm a self-starter. I put myself out there. And things like that. Hi, Jennifer. I remember you, Jennifer. I remember Jennifer. I'm so glad you're here. I think that I've always kind of been a Republican because, like I said, Republicans are like self starters, hard workers. They're nice. They're all about family and they take care of each other. But they're also just nicer. And the cool thing, Kelly, whenever you meet other Republicans now, you're so excited to meet each other and you have this automatic respect for each other because you know how much crap that you get from the media and from people that just are brainwashed by the media. So I absolutely think that Republicans are nicer. And I've heard so many stories of people that are on the left going to a Trump rally for the first time or something like that. And they're so shocked by how nice people are. I don't know if you saw my video, but I found this interview of these two radical feminists. Do you guys remember the whole We Spa situation? So there's a whole thing going on in Los Angeles, and there was a male in the spa, and the spa people couldn't kick the male out because of transgender, because of gender identity. So they couldn't kick him out. And these women were really upset because he still had all of his male parts, but they wouldn't do anything. So they planned a protest that Saturday. Republicans are very grounded in values, morals, and God. Yeah, and I think that's why I connect with Republicans a lot more than I did a lot of my very left friends. And what's interesting is a lot of my friends on the left, they would, excuse me, I'm sorry to say this, but they would annoy me a lot for certain reasons because they were the type that would complain about their situations all the time, but they wouldn't do anything about it. And that's a lot of my friends on the left. They just complain and they don't do anything. And I do not like that personality type. It's just negative. And I'm like, if you're not happy with something, do something about it. You know, if you want to change your career, even if you can't leave your job just now, start working on your resume, start studying something, start putting yourself out there. You don't have to leave your job. But I'm always that type of person. I had so many friends that would just complain and complain and complain, and they wouldn't do a darn thing to change their situation. And I find that Republicans are just very different in that sense. They're hard workers and they're self-starters, and they're always putting themselves out there, and like you said, they have morals and they believe in family and God and things like that. And I believe in those things too. Oh, but this We Spa thing. So I found, the interesting thing about this We Spa thing is it was a lot of women. It was a lot of women on the left and on the right, and they were just basically for, we don't want men in our areas. So they all went out and protested, and then Antifa showed up and started attacking everyone. Well, I found this interview between two radical feminists. So they're not women on the right, they're not Republican women, they're radical feminists, but they were against men being in women's spaces and against like men being in women's sports and stuff like that. Biological men, I mean, same thing. So I found this interview of them, and they were talking about, one girl was talking about her experience at the We Spa and how Antifa was there attacking everyone, and she was surprised because the Proud Boys were there. And she goes, I feel like the Proud Boys were trying to protect us against Antifa. And it was really weird because they're used to the media telling them that the Proud Boys are bad and they're evil and they're white supremacists. And she was like, but they were protecting us, and I don't know what to do with this information. Like, she was really flabbergasted because of that. We spot nuts are so funny. Jennifer. That's happening a lot in California because they have this gender identity law, and then they have SB 132, which is putting biological men, if they identify as women, even if they have all their parts and they're incarcerated, they can be transferred to a woman's prison. And since this has gone into effect already, like hundreds of men have requested to transfer, and none of them have been BS 132. Yeah, Special K, it's BS 132. Like hundreds of men have already requested to transfer since this went into effect last January. None of them have been denied. You're super interactive with your audience. I love it. I try to be because I have more fun doing that. So we can say that men are officially better at everything. That's what's happening. No, you're right. That's why these radical feminists have gotten involved. And it's so funny. If you watch that video where I'm talking about this group of women, I said at the beginning of the video, if you were to ever tell me that I would be standing in solidarity with a group of radical feminists to fight the patriarchy a year ago, if you would have told me that a year ago, I would have told you that you're crazy. And here I am. because men have infiltrated everything. It's the patriarchy. They're everywhere. The patriarchy has come to my spa. That was my final straw, was the spa, because I go to the Korean spas in Los Angeles. They're amazing. I love them. But, you know, they're also they're very naked when you're on your side, but it's kind of that traditional Korean thing. And I will say, like, you know, I would go. There was one spa I would, because you pay like 20, $25 and you can be there all day. So I would take my laptop, I would take a few books when I was off for the day. I would be there for like 10 hours. They have a cafe, they have saunas, they have everything. They have areas where you can sleep. Bridget Fedesi, is that how you say it? Fedesi has a segment on her show about this stuff called The Patriarchy So Crafty. I'm going to watch that. Hold on, I'm writing that down. The Patriarchy So Crafty. So crafty. No, it really is right. Like, she's the best. You get Newsom out of here. So Cali residents here. It's going insane here. Yeah, so Jennifer, what do you think of Eva? Now she's trying to go in the closet. Can you wait until I'm done? Oh, Jennifer, so what do you think about, oh my gosh, what do you think about Larry Elder running? So Larry Elder, do you guys like him? He announced that I hereby pledge my, your what to Eva? My felty to Eva? She has a scratch pad right here. I don't know why she's using it. She also has a taco truck. Whoa, look how creepy she looks. Eva. Ew. Larry Elder, it's felty, allegiance. Oh, yeah, that's a new word for me. I didn't know that. Look how creepy she looks. Love Larry Elder. So he announced that he is running. He wants to, so far what he said is he wants to combat the homeless situation. Demon, I know, she is a demon cat. She's an alien. Yes, she is. So he wants to combat homelessness. Larry has never rubbed me the wrong way. I agree with you. He's one of the first commentators that I found, and he's never ever rubbed me the wrong way either. Larry Elder was a part of my red pill moment sitting in traffic in LA. I think Larry Elder was a lot of people's red pill moment. He has a really gentle way of saying things. If you follow Dave Rubin, he actually changed Dave Rubin's mind. Look up interview with Larry Elder and Dave Rubin, the oldest interview with Larry Elder and Dave Rubin, and Larry on Dave Rubin was amazing. Yeah, you can actually watch Larry Elder change Dave Rubin's mind while they're in that interview. So if you want to do that, go and look at their oldest interview, and Larry Elder for sure just changed his mind. That was pretty cool. I don't know where. She heard me get it. I will use this. It's the only thing that works anymore. Although sometimes I feel like I use this spray and she just looks at me like, so? Spike that thumbs up. Oh, thank you. Don't you dare. I'm not doing it, Kelly. I'm just right here. I'm not going to do it. Hands up. But I'm excited about Larry running. So who else do we have? We have Larry Elder. There's another guy that a lot of people really like. I don't know what his name is. Caitlyn Jenner, who I'm not for Caitlyn Jenner. Oh, thank you, Freddie, very much. Uh-oh, spray bottles out. Thank you so much. That's really sweet. Yeah, not a fan of Caitlyn Jenner anymore, and a lot of it is because of the patriarchy in California, the crafty patriarchy, as Bridget says. I'm totally watching that when I'm done talking to you all. So I think there was an old interview that surfaced. Sarah, you need to start getting on some network interviews or other big YouTube personalities to get your name out there. Thank you. That's really sweet, Benjamin. Caitlyn said a few years ago in an interview with Tucker Carlson that Caitlyn is the big agenda that Caitlyn is for is the LGBTQ transgender agenda. and it's the radical trans agenda that is sort of impeding on women's rights right now. So that's one of the big, well, there's lots of reasons I'm not for Caitlyn, but that's one of them. My red pill moment was shortly after Trump was elected. I didn't understand why Democrats were trying the hardest to convince us that Trump was bad. Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I was like, why is everyone crazy and why does everyone think he's so bad? And I was even a CNN watcher at the time, but even still, even with the coverage on CNN, I was like, okay, he's not as bad as what they're saying. I'm not that gullible. I know he's not that bad. And I even had friends of mine that were telling me that he was a Nazi. I'm like, my friends that otherwise are totally normal and smart. I'm like, I wouldn't go that far to call him that. And that's why I started doing research. Caitlyn is anti-Trump. I think Caitlyn voted for Trump, but Caitlyn was like, my allegiance isn't with Trump. I just voted. Caitlyn did vote for Trump, but also said that the allegiance wasn't with Trump. It was more, it was because, I don't know if you guys know this, but Trump is the first candidate in US history to be pro gay marriage. So that's why Caitlyn voted for him. Sarah, I hate to leave here, but I have to go. Please don't forget to check your email. Okay, Jason, I'll check it as soon as I'm done from here and watching in the 1990. Everyone loved Trump until he started going against the narrative. Yeah, and Freddie, that's what was really weird too. Everyone loved him all of a sudden until he ran for office. And yes, until he started going against the narrative. And it's the same with Tulsi because she's a Democrat and she goes against the narrative. But they don't like her either because she goes against the narrative. Even Fox Black's liberal commentator, Leo, red pilled. Yeah, a lot of people are. Okay, you guys, I think I'm gonna get off of here. And thank you everyone that came. That was really fun. A controlled experiment is what they don't tell you. Could Caitlyn go in the women's area? I'm not even gonna ask that question. I'll look it up either. I still love Trump, Jennifer. I do too. I know he's not perfect, but I do. All right, you all, I'm going to get off of here. Thank you. I started doing my own and flipped. Oh, I didn't see that. Okay. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you for coming. That was a lot of fun. Bye. None of us are perfect. Exactly. Okay. Bye, Freddie. Bye, Richard. Bye, Shelford. Bye, Jennifer. Who is that? Thaman? Bye, Lance. All right. I'll see you all later. Bye. Thank you so much for coming.